Have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on inside your body when you get sick? Well, today we're going to go on a kind of microscopic adventure. We're going to follow a single germ on its journey, from the moment it gets in, all the way to the final showdown. Let's dive in.
It's a pretty good question, right? How can something you can't even see, something completely microscopic, end up causing so much chaos? To really get it, we first need to know what kind of illness we're actually up against.
So the kind of trouble we're talking about is what's called a communicable disease. Now that sounds super technical, but all it really means is a sickness that can jump from one person to another. You know, like the common cold or the flu. That ability to travel is basically its superpower.
Now you might think the story of a sickness starts with a cough, or maybe a fever. But nope, it actually starts way earlier, with a totally silent, secret invasion that happens when we have absolutely no idea.
Okay, so here's the whole roadmap for this germ's journey. You can see it has 5 main stages, and we're starting right at the very beginning, at point number 1, the moment of infection.
So stage 1 is the break-in. This is the exact moment a germ, could be a virus, could be bacteria, finds a way into your body. Maybe it hitched a ride on a cough from someone nearby, or you got it from a handshake. It could even just be from touching a doorknob and then touching your face. But make no mistake, the invasion has begun.
Once it's inside, the germ isn't just hanging out. It gets to work immediately. This is the incubation period, and it's basically a top-secret operation where that one little germ starts multiplying into a full-blown army of millions. And the craziest part? You still feel totally fine. You're just going about your day, completely unaware of the massive battle that's about to kick off inside you.
So, after that secret phase is over, things start to shift. Your body starts to realize that something is really wrong, and it sounds the very first alarm.
All right, let's look at our roadmap again. We've made it to stop number 3, the prodromal stage. The germ's secret mission is over, and now we're starting to see the first real hints of trouble. In this stage, the symptoms are usually super vague. You might feel a little more tired than usual, maybe a bit achy, or you just feel off. It's that feeling where you think, I bet I'm coming down with something. But here's the really important part. Even though you barely feel sick, you are already contagious. You can already spread that germ to other people.
Okay, the early warnings are done. Now we're at the main event. This is it, the all-out battle between the germ army and your body's defenses. This is the part of being sick we all know and hate.
This is what's called the acute stage. Think of it like a war with two sides. On one side, you have your immune system sending out its elite soldiers, your white blood cells and antibodies, and on the other side, you have the germ's attack, which is what causes all those classic symptoms we feel, the fever, the cough, the sore throat. The battle is in full swing.
You'd think the story would end right after that big battle, right? Well, not always. The final chapter in a germ's journey can actually have some pretty unexpected twists. We've finally reached the last stage on our map, the aftermath. And as you can see, this stage can go down a few different paths. Most of the time, thankfully, it just ends with recovery. But let's take a quick look at the other possibilities. So first up, you've got a relapse. You can think of this as like an unwelcome sequel to the sickness. It happens when your immune system does a pretty good job, but doesn't quite wipe out every single last germ, which lets the illness make a short, annoying comeback. Now, in some very rare and very severe cases, an illness can become deadly. But it's so important to remember that this is incredibly rare for most diseases today, and that's all thanks to modern medicine. Things like vaccines and antibiotics have been absolute game changers. And finally, there's this really fascinating situation called the carrier stage. This is where the germs basically become permanent hitchhikers in your body. Now, some carriers develop immunity. They feel totally fine, but they can still spread the germ to other people. Then you have other carriers who don't have immunity, which means they can get sick again and pass it on. So after hearing all of that, it might feel like the germ has all the power, but it doesn't, not even close. You have the power to stop this entire story before it even gets started. You actually get to be the hero. And your defense plan is actually really simple, but it is incredibly effective. Think of these 4 steps as your superpowers. Washing your hands literally washes the germs away. Covering your coughs and sneezes traps them. Staying home when you're sick stops them from finding a new person to infect. And vaccines? They're like a training program for your immune system, turning it into the ultimate germ-fighting machine. So there you have it. We've gone through the germ's entire journey, from that first secret invasion all the way to the end. We've exposed its whole playbook, and knowing that is power. So the real question is, what are you going to do with it? How will you help rewrite the ending for yourself and for everyone around you?